So section 5, in section 5, we're going to talk about secular trend, which means changes over time in physical growth. For example, the level of development, it just might be different based on gender, genetic factors, malnutrition, and illness. By illness here, we mean like typical development versus atypical development. For example, we might have same age children. Yeah, children with Down syndrome, they're gonna have like different level of physical growth compared to children in typical development spectrum. So here you can see changes in body, proportion and composition. You can see the head. This is a joke, we all know that, right? But in general, newborn's head is just so big. It is just basically 50% of their body. But in adulthood, it's gonna be smaller. Like now, we don't have like such a giant head, like crazy. Actually, it's reminded me about one episode of Friends. It was about like that was so funny. But there was a girl with just such a big head, like so crazy. But yeah, in general, normal, typical human being, they don't have like I mean, it's not like 50% of their body gonna be head weight. Nowadays, it is just 10% of adults' body gonna be head. So brain in general grows quickly, but for example, sexual organs, they're gonna grow slowly. And I mean, we all know that, for example, we're gonna be born with just a specific sexual organ. They not gonna develop until our puberty. For example, by age 9, suddenly our sexual organs, they're gonna appear some way. Reproductive system and reproductive organs grow rate is going to be slower compared to other parts of the body. Proportion of fat to muscle also going to shift. I'm going to talk about this more. And here you can see the table. I just basically talking about like different parts of body and how, for example, muscle might be smaller or might be bigger. Read that carefully to just have some ideas about how human being gonna develop in different parts of the lifespan. But the most important aspect of development, we all know that, is puberty. And we have like different types of sexual characteristics. We have primary sexual characteristics, which can, I would say, it can just literally define halfway of our development, because basically we're gonna born biologically girl or boy, and like all of the other stuff gonna be determined based on that biological sex. The second part gonna be secondary sexual characteristics, which basically gonna be in adolescence, which again, it can define the other half of our personality, because like we're gonna develop different kind of characteristics during our puberty. We can be self-conscious or we can be confident. It just all depends on when these secondary sexual characteristics gonna develop. I'm gonna talk about the when part soon, the period soon, but here you can see that primary sexual characteristics is all about development of reproductive organs. And it's just basically similar. We have like a newborn can be either girl or boy from the beginning. So there is no gender differences here. I mean, time-wise. So, I mean, from the moment we can see the children, they're gonna be born with that specific sexual organs. Then we have secondary sexual characteristics, which can be body proportion. In general, for example, girls, they do have like more fat, yet boys, they do have more muscles. Pubic hair, this is different. I mean, the amount of hair is just totally different between girls and boys. Breast development, the rate is just different here. For example, in girls, breast development is just has a higher rate compared to boys. Voice changes. Again, this is different between boys and girls. Like boys' voice changes might be higher compared to girls. I guess I didn't have any changes. I mean, voice changes in my puberty, but I know, for example, my cousin, his voice was just crazy different suddenly. Or same goes for my brother as well. He had such a cute voice, and suddenly I remember that it wasn't like a specific day, but like I remember that after a week, I could hear a different voice from him, which was so funny. But yeah, it's gonna all happen during secondary sexual development of children. So here you can see the onset. You can see that in girls we have like some sort of earlier time for secondary sexual characteristic to be appeared and just develop. It is just by age 8. In boys, it is by age 9. So basically, boys gonna develop later compared to girls. But you can see the end time is just kind of similar between both age ranges. I would suggest everyone to just read the part about puberty carefully, because like there are a lot of content and a lot of criteria that boys might be different from girls. And it is very important for you to just understand to what extent they are different. Because if you want to work in psychology, or if you want to know more about like different dilemma that everybody has nowadays, even as an adult, you have to just go back to puberty and just understand, okay, what was going on with their puberty, what kind of trauma or like development, like traumatic development they suffered. So I would suggest everyone to read that carefully because they are important. Okay, I already said that depending on our sexual characteristics and when it's gonna be appeared, we might have like different level of confidence, or we might be self-conscious or anxious, or we might suffer from some sort of negative mental condition. This actually here, as you can see here, early and late maturation in boys might actually impact them differently compared to girls. For example, early maturing males, they actually perceive themselves like more confident. They actually look at them more positively. I don't know why, because the mustache is just so crazy. Like, I mean, I don't know. I would skip that. But you all know that, like a child with just a big mustache suddenly just kind of funny. But like boys in general look at themselves more positively, and boys who would experience secondary characteristics earlier, they would be more confident compared to their peers. Yet the situation might be different for girls. Here you can see, I guess you know Cassie, she's from Euphoria. And this is exactly her case. In girls, early maturation can bring them a lot of problems, negative problems most of the time. They might have drinking problems. They might have early anxiety, depression. They might actually suffer from early dating and sexual problems. Because basically, just imagine they are children, and suddenly they would experience puberty, and they can, I mean, their brain didn't develop in that fast pace. So it is just so hard for them to just adapt to the new situation, because like everybody in the street look at them as a woman, but they are not a woman. So it's just so hard because the brain is still a child, the body is a woman. So just adjusting to the new situation is just so hard for girls. And that's why they might just suffer from eating disorder, body dissatisfaction. They might have a lot of problems with their self-esteem. So it is so important to just be aware about that kind of gender differences during the puberty and sexual and secondary characteristics.